Na, 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 na.
All right.
No, so you sounded like a pirate then. You're like, oh, all right.
Yeah. All right. So today's is a very special episode. Today, this video that you are watching, that we are recording, is our 200th video.
Well, bloody hell. I have to admit, that's quite impressive.
That is crazy. So, because we've only been doing this less than 4 years. I think we started recording episodes we released our first one in October of 2017. So we're averaging one a week, basically. More than that. We're averaging more than one a week, which is impressive considering we go long bouts of time where we don't do episodes.
Yeah, we are a feast or famine.
We really are. But speaking of feasts, we have a feast of beer today. We have Schlafly Oatmeal Stout, which is I'm looking forward to this because I love stouts. I'm not a big oatmeal fan, but I do love stouts. And, interestingly enough, they are located in St. Louis, Missouri, which is where Busch Beer is.
I find that interesting. Do you know, there are always these places that you keep having, like Vermont, for example. For some reason, Vermont keeps coming back, and for me, St. Louis and Kansas City and stuff, I keep having things that are luring me there.
Yeah. Yeah, so, this is really, I'm excited for this one. So, just a little bit about them. They won the gold medal for the best German-style Kolsch in the World Beer Cup in 2010. That's kind of crazy. They beat Germany.
That is crazy because, Germany takes not being beaten very seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Except in World Wars, obviously.
Then they took home the silver medal in pumpkin/squash beer or pumpkin spice beer category for its pumpkin ale in 2017 at the Great American Beer Festival. And this one I thought was so incredibly titillating. And I'm realizing that I copied this from their website, and I saw this and I was like, that's really interesting. I wonder who's rating that. They made this up. Best looking production staff 2019, repeat champions since 1991. I didn't realize that was a joke until I'm reading that back to myself right now. And I was like, oh, I'm like, who's judging that? Who's going through? And they're like, all right. They do have a category for best brunette, though.
Ooh, well, first of all, I'm digging the brunette thing. And secondly, you know what? As a historian, if you say something like we're the best looking production staff, in 20 years' time, 100 years' time, no one's going to argue with that. That's just a fact. Yeah. That just becomes a fact.
This goes back to the whole... Who was it that they said needed verification for best... We were talking about something the other day about... This is
Der Best Sickle. Yeah, so when I was a kid, I went to Germany, and there was a company called DBS, which stood for Der Best Sickle. We got a tour of their factory. And they told us how, at some point, somebody in Germany, being typically bureaucratic, was like, well, you can't call yourself DBS Der Best Sickle unless you are the best cycle. And they did a survey of the entire country, and everyone in Germany was like, yes, DBS make the best cycles. So they were allowed to keep their name.
Well, I'm going to assume Schlafly has their best looking production staff.
No, I think we have to go down to St. Louis and verify that for ourselves.
Let's do it. Well, before we do that, let's... Cheers.
Now that's very nice.
Yeah.
I would say it's like we were talking about lagers being, it's difficult sometimes to go. I mean, that is exactly what you want it to be. It doesn't blow me away, but it's it's a really solid oatmeal stout.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, this is nothing... There's no part of this that I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. It's just this is a really solid beer. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah. And it's funny, they talk about it on the bottle, a classic British style stout brewed with flaked oatmeal and roasted barley.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. I get the roasted flavor.
I mean, yeah, it's really good. And the problem is, we've had so many stouts that have brought in different flavors and stuff like this. It's so difficult to stand out when you do something, exactly right.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing is, like, there's something to be said for consistency. Where, like, you're not going to go... It's like a utility infielder, right? Like, you got a guy who's just going to, like, give you exactly what you need. And, he's not going to, like, hit a bunch of home runs. He's not going to really hit for average, but he's going to get a hit when you need it. This gets the hit when you need it.
Yeah. So, okay, imagine what are the best circumstances you could imagine drinking one of these. Just like if I'd been shoveling snow out of the driveway, came inside.
I was going to say, this is a good beer for the temperature that we're drinking at. So we talked about when we were drinking the Nectarine ale, that was not ideal circumstances. This is ideal circumstances. This is like a cold day. It's like there's salt in the roads. This is nice to stay in and just kind of like enjoy. It warms you up a little bit. It's funny because I'm naturally like running warm. And last night, watching TV and watching the fights, and my girlfriend said, she was like, "I'm really cold. Are you cold?" And I'm like, "No. I think it's just because we're drinking beer right before right before she said that. I think this definitely warms you up."
It does. I just cracked open the window, so it's like Northeast United States. It's 2 foot of snow still outdoors. This is perfect for it.
And I think that's the thing is, like, if you think about the temperature of St. Louis, I think it gets chilly. So
it does. I have an Instagrammer I'm friends with called Caleb, and he's always posting pictures from St. Louis, and it's like, yeah, snow, cold, Missouri.
Right.
I don't think Missouri makes you think of much necessarily, apart from perhaps. What does Missouri make you think of?
So Missouri makes me think of Kansas. I think of Kansas City and St. Louis. So I think of mostly the sports teams. I also think when I think Missouri, I think of Jenna Fisher, who's played Pam on The Office, and Phyllis, who's played Phyllis on The Office. And the accent from Missouri and Missouri. I think of Missouri because that's how they would say it.
I always have an anxiety attack because I know I'm going to spell it wrong.
Missouri?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I like Missouri, St. Louis and Kansas City is like somewhere I know I'm going to visit this year.
Yeah. Okay. And then I always think of the Arch, obviously. St. Louis Arch.
Okay. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. This was a good beer. It's really unfortunate because there are beers that are kind of like real middle of the road where it's like, yeah, this was a solid beer. Where you're not like, okay, there's nothing to rave about, but at the same time, there's nothing to really trash either. This was a fantastic beer. So,
I mean, it's like we just bought a Toyota Camry, and it's like there's nothing sexy about a Toyota Camry. But at the same time, it's like it's a really nice car to drive, and it's reliable, and it does everything. Yeah, and you think a Lamborghini, like you're driving a Lamborghini, and everything will fall out of the dashboard because it's made by slapdash Italians.
Yeah.
But it is also a big, sexy sports car, whereas a Toyota Camry is not, but it does exactly what it says it's going to do in a solid way.
I agree.
There we go. Sorry, Lamborghini, for dissing you.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a good, solid, middle of the road beer. Nothing great, but it's also not terrible. So.
Okay. Well, at one point on our beer journey, we'll have to go down to Schlafly and be like amazers.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting challenge.
Show us what you got.
Right. Okay, and on that note, now what day are we up to?
We are on day 25, so we have 3 more days of February. Enjoy this extended weekend. So tomorrow we'll see you for Friday, and then we have Saturday, Sunday. And honestly, I don't even know what we have in store because we haven't picked them up yet. So
No.
it's surprise to us.
Okay, and on that note,